Michael and Brooke. On board a steam train from Queenscliff in Victoria, they completed the final questionnaire. The winner was Brooke. She'd correctly guessed that Michael was the mole, and she knew more about him than anyone else.
So, now we know who the mole is. But up until last week, not even the 7 contestants who were eliminated knew who the mole was. To tell them, we flew them all to Sydney to watch the final episode. For them, and for you, this is the chance to find everything out. This is The Mole. How you could have known.
It all started for 16 of them last November. They'd been selected from 5,000 people who'd applied to be on the show. But 6 of those 16 never made it beyond the first day. They were eliminated before the real game had even started.
You've missed out, really have. I'm sorry for you guys because there's a lot to Terry Sharp that you just didn't find out.
9 of the people who made it onto the show were genuine contestants, but the 10th person, Michael, was hired by us to be a traitor. None of the contestants knew each other, and none of them, of course, knew that Michael was the mole. One by one, the contestants were eliminated. To get a high score in the computer questionnaire, you have to be right with who you think the mole is. Helen was the first to go. She'd thought that Mel was the mole. John thought that the mole was Fiona, and he was eliminated. Angela had thought that Michael was the mole, but in episode 4 she changed her mind.
Angela, we have to go.
And she was eliminated. Fiona was the next to go. She guessed wrongly, thinking that the mole was Hal. Shane thought the mole was Brooke, and he was eliminated in episode 6. Emily also thought the mole was Brooke, and she too was eliminated. By episode 8, Mel suspected that the mole was Michael, but in that night's computer questionnaire, he didn't get enough questions right, and he was eliminated. It is now April, and we're reuniting them. When this episode was filmed, last week's episode hadn't gone to air, so only Brooke, Hal and Michael know how the whole series ended. The other 7 don't know who won the money, and they don't know who the mole is. They're reuniting in Sydney to find everything out, to learn who the mole is, and to see how he or she managed to fool them all. The mood on the bus is every bit as excited as the mood on the helicopter 5 months earlier. Ahead of them then lay an unknown 3 weeks of adventure and deception. Ahead of them today lies the discovery of who was deceiving them and how.
A word here and a word there in people's ear, and they went, very suspect.
They will see how Michael fooled so many of them for so much of the time.
I mean, I knew exactly where we were.
We'll see how Michael sabotaged the assignments and how he remained hidden for so long.
Things that they do, if they make any mistakes, honest mistakes, you just go with that.
We'll see what some of the contestants really think of each other.
I did nothing to her to be nasty or mean.
And above all, they and you will see the clues in each episode which you could have used to work out who the mole is. But all that lies ahead. For now, 7 of the contestants can only guess who the mole is.
Thinking back now, I'd probably say Brooke. I think Brooke is probably the mole.
Michael was the mole.
I think that Hal is the mole.
The mole is Brooke.
And the mole is Michael.
There are mixed opinions, but soon all will be revealed. For 2 days, the 10 of them will be staying at the Ridges Hotel, North Sydney. They'll be wined and dined, They'll relive their experiences and they'll discover the truth of what really went on.
We've got some television to watch. There's a program I'd like you to see. How about we go upstairs?
For two of them, Shane and Emily, the outcome of the show and who the winner is especially important. Way back in episode 4, Hal, Shane and Emily had made a secret deal to split the winnings if any of them won.
We've all come to an agreement that should any three of us win this entire competition, the mole, that $20,000 shall be given to each of the two non-winners in this group of 3, except in the event that one of those 2 people is the mole, in which case the $20,000 goes to the non-mole, non-winner. Do you two agree with that?
Yes, totally agree.
Had Hal won the money, Emily and Shane would each be getting $20,000. Emily and Shane don't yet know that Hal didn't win, but Shane at least is optimistic.
Okay, I think the winner was Hal. I think the loser was Brooke.
I have a little feeling that Hal might have won, and I hope so much that he did, but sort of thinking about it logically, I would have to say I think Mike was the mole, Brooke won, and Hal lost.
Emily and Shane are now about to find out whether or not they've each won $20,000.
Tense? So when did you make this deal?
7 people
Yeah,
left.
7 left, yeah.
Bit of pressure on you there, Hal?
Just a tad.
What do you say we find out? Shall we watch the last episode? I've unlocked one door. It is the door of the winner. If your door opens, you've won $100,000. Please move forward and try the handle now.
We, of course, know that Hal didn't win, but for Shane and Emily, this is the moment they find out that they've both lost out on $20,000.
Well done, baby.
Oh, well done.
Shane and Emily missed out on the money. Hal had lost, and all of the money, all $100,000, went to Brooke.
Could you release the mole?
Brooke was the winner, but the question still remains for 7 of them. Who was the mole?
I can't do it.
The time has come for Michael's identity to be revealed.
I love you for being the mole.
Knew it.
Well done.
Oh my God.
Such a relief to open that door and go, oh, it's
Whatever.
Hal was the runner-up. After 3 weeks of intrigue, lies and stress, he came away with nothing.
I got it easy. I knew then.
we almost
These two you have to feel sorry for.
Fighting again.
All the way up
God.
And there we have it. Shane and Emily. Little disappointed?
Hadn't got my hopes up too much, so. Yeah.
Way to go.
But you didn't
Got to say, I'm a
Work.
little bit shattered, but you know, it's Brooke came out trumps, and best of luck to her.
At last they know who it was who was deceiving them the whole time. And it's not surprising that they want to know how he did it.
How did you go so red when the first elimination? You came out as red as a
Six people were about to get the bullet, right? The tension in there was real for everyone. For everyone. I mean, there's no pretending there. And I knew I wasn't one of them. I had 3 weeks ahead of me.
At every elimination, Michael knew that he was safe, but he always looked as though he could be the next to go. It was all part of playing the double life of the mole.
As far as finding out who the mole is and staying in the game, I think it can only get a bit easier from here because...
So what was it like to betray everyone?
That's what we know.
Every night, Michael recorded a video diary or confession cam as a normal contestant. But he also recorded a confession cam as the mole.
As far as being the mole, in the bunker, pyro, pink, yellow, red, orange.
What it was like to be the mole. How Michael sabotaged the assignments, how he double bluffed, and how you could have spotted him. That's coming up on The Mole. How you could have known. 10 people had shared an extraordinary time together, and some of them have become close friends. 3 of them in particular, Emily, Hal and Shane, formed an alliance and they made a deal.
Do you two agree with that?
Yes, totally agree. Totally agree.
This group came together based on trust. I think we worked out fairly quickly that each of us was not the mole, and so we worked on that basis.
For 5 months, Hal kept it secret from Emily and Shane that he didn't win.
When I got back from the show, I had one phone call with them and I pretty much said, I don't want to speak to you on the phone at all.
Only now have Emily and Shane discovered that they each lost out on $20,000. Shane, in particular, took the news hard.
Yeah, I've just lost 20 grand. I don't feel that good. I must admit, I didn't get my hopes up, but at the back of my mind, of course, I wanted to win the money.
I'm sad for Hal, and also I think he feels bad for Shane and I, and so I feel bad for him.
The 3 of them made their deal early on in the show, but they left Angela out of it. They'd all got on well with Angela. Shane, in particular, had a good laugh with her. But they didn't include her in the deal, and they never even told her about it.
I got left out of a deal. Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit disappointed that Shane didn't tell me, but I'll ask him about that later.
Well, the 3 of us were perhaps a little bit fooled by her dizziness, and we felt that perhaps the 3 of us would be around longer than what she would.
I didn't need anybody else in the agreement, and having another person would have made it very complicated.
3 into 100 is better than 4 into 100.
Some of the contestants got on with each other, and some didn't. But where did they all come from? They were selected from 5,000 people who'd answered a newspaper ad. Hundreds of the applicants were then auditioned. Helen Nation was one of the ones selected. She's 54, but she's very fit. Hardly surprising, because she's an opal miner. Helen was the first contestant to be eliminated.
I could not believe how devastated I was. I've never been so disappointed about anything my whole life. Oh, I knew it.
Helen, we have to go.
Shocked, yeah. Devastated, actually, yeah. Really, when I came home, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to speak on the telephone. I just kept saying to my husband, don't even talk to me about it. Don't even talk to me about it.
John. Next to go was John, a 50-year-old plumber. He's a proud man and he's kicking himself that he didn't make it to the end.
I don't think anybody can really describe what the elimination is like. It's devastating. You don't get a chance to say goodbye. You don't get a chance to talk to anyone. And the letdown afterwards is just incredible.
Yep, I blew it.
I blew it. As I said the day that I walked out the door, I blew it. And I did.
John blew it because Fiona had convinced him that she was the mole.
I believe that Fiona blew me out of the water. But
it was a brilliant double cross by Fiona to get rid of a rival contestant.
I hope she feels guilty. She really deserves to.
Angela? In the following episode, Angela was eliminated. She's a beauty therapist from WA.
I want to show Australia, Perth, that this skinny little female has actually got some guts, because I know I've got guts and I have got a brain and I'm not just a beauty therapist.
Angela's an aspiring actress and she used The Mole to lift her profile.
Hi, I'm Angela Linford from The Mole. I'll be speaking to Jason after 5 on the all-new 92.9.
So, Angela, are you the mole?
I might be and I may not be.
You can't answer it.
No, I can't answer that, sorry.
You're doing so
Telephone.
Angela was good mates with some of the contestants, but she never got on with Fiona.
She's made it very clear she's here for television exposure so she can launch an acting career. She's incompetent, she's stupid. She says the stupidest things, she's embarrassing.
At the reunion, Angela had a few words to say about what Fiona had said on the show.
Fiona? I can't believe Fiona. I did nothing to her to be nasty or mean.
Angela had been eliminated in episode 4. Fiona was the next to go. Fiona is a 29-year-old care worker from WA.
Right turn. Right.
Left.
Left.
She'd played a shrewd game, convincing John that she was the mole.
John and I got along very, very, very well. So, you know, considered him that he trusted me a lot. And then so I started telling him a few bits and pieces that weren't so true. I guess it's a trust thing. I really abused his trust, which wasn't very nice. But he was easy to do that too.
Back at home in WA with her husband, Fiona discovered that throughout the filming, she'd been pregnant.
I'm 6 months pregnant now. Yeah, so I've still got a little while to go, not long though. I guess in hindsight, I would have preferred to have not been pregnant and been so sick, but that's no excuse. Someone has stolen something.
Fiona never suspected that Michael was the mole. She hadn't seen any of Michael's sabotages or any of his clues. How did Michael fool them all? That's coming up.
You feel bad about it, but it's all part of the game.
I'm not the mole, but then again, I might be. I'll leave it at that.
Shane Jolly was high on everyone's list of suspects. As a tour guide, he deliberately failed to tell a good lie or a good joke.
Look, I kid you not, I'm not having a go, but...
And in the Fortress assignment, he was the only contestant to be shot. But pretending to be the mole won't save you if you don't know who the mole is. Shane thought it was Brooke and he was eliminated. Shane works in advertising and marketing, but he's also a budding actor and performer.
Look, I'm a try-hard actor and singer. I'm not going to deny that to you.
In his audition for the mole, Shane was determined to show his talents.
It goes something like this. Bum 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 bum. Hey, bum 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 bum. Happy birthday from Bobby McGee's.
Since the filming ended, Shane's been to acting classes and he's appeared in a TV ad.
Please, happy birthday from McGee's. Oh, I don't know about that. It was a bit ordinary. As I was growing up, I was doing, TV commercials and all that sort of, because I always wanted to get into this field.
Shane's been studying acting and going to auditions at the Academy of Television.
Yes. Oh, g'day. My name's Jack Simmons. I've come to see Mr. Logan. Yeah, I'm hoping something comes out of this. If something comes up along the way, fantastic.
Emily. Emily was the next to go.
We have to go.
At 19, she was the youngest of all the contestants. Emily's a student and she lives with her family in Cronulla in New South Wales.
Initially I was a bit intimidated being the youngest and maybe I was underestimated a bit.
She may be young, but she played the game hard. During the detective assignment, it was Emily who stole the trinket box and then blatantly lied about it. What's more, you can see her lying.
Yeah.
Look closely at her eyes.
No, I didn't.
When people aren't telling the truth, they often look up and to the right.
Did you see anybody take it?
The trinket box?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, did you take it?
No, I didn't.
Who'd like to go first?
Me.
Big fella.
The last contestant to be eliminated was Mel Granturco. Mel's a warehouse supervisor from Blacktown in New South Wales. He calls himself the big unit because of his size, but he's a gentle giant.
Mel's Mel. I'm me. I do what I want to do when I want to do it, basically. I get on the bike and ride and get rid of all my anxiety and stress and whatever else I have inside me and just ride, and that's me. I suspected Michael and I didn't do enough homework on Michael.
Although Mel suspected that Michael was the mole, he was eliminated because he didn't know enough about him.
I failed to pick up critical information that was passed
in general conversation and in doing things, but hey, that's the way it is, you know.
Mel's departure left Brooke, Michael and Hal in the final episode. Hal was far and away the audience's top suspect as the mole. He's a 31-year-old shop owner from New South Wales.
Like a bag for it?
Yeah, yes please.
No worries.
Hey, are you on that show? Oh my God, you're the mole, aren't you?
You have to wait and see.
You're so the mole, you're so the mole.
Constantly got to be sort of on your guard because everybody's asking you, are you the mole, did you win it, all these sort of questions, and you really got to be non-committal. If he gets a blue key,
Right from the start, Hal looked as if he was sabotaging assignments, and as such, he was the mole's best friend. First, there was the time bomb. Why did Hal pick up a piece of coloured wire when everyone else was getting coloured discs by solving puzzles?
When I picked up that piece of wire, it went through my head, well, this is probably not the right answer. But if it's not the right answer, it doesn't matter to me. It probably is advantageous to my position.
In the hostage assignment, it was Hal who went to get the directions, but the directions then got them lost.
It'll be easiest if we turn around.
Yeah.
If we go to the end, the T-junction, turn left. Keep going till you get to roundabout, turn left, and it'll take us into Warradale.
By the end, Hal knew that Brooke couldn't be the mole. How could he be so sure? Because Emily and Shane had both thought that Brooke was the mole and they'd been eliminated. But knowing that Michael was the mole wasn't enough to win.
As I stood up, that was the point where I thought, geez, you know, maybe I haven't won this. Maybe, you know, Brooke knew more than what I did. I was like, maybe this is going to go wrong. I ain't going to win it. Brooke played the game better than everybody else and deserves the win 100%. No one can take that away from her. The results are not luck. There's no randomness to it. She did the best job. She deserves the money.
Brooke had suspected Michael almost from the beginning, whereas Hal was onto him only towards the end. It was the difference between winning and losing.
In both thinking it was Michael, the only thing that would have made a difference, I think, was that I knew Michael better on a personal level, and there were personal questions in the questionnaire. Stay close to your friends and stay close to your enemies.
Brooke is 24 and she's a bar manager. Or she was until she won $100,000. Ever since her audition, we knew that Brooke was going to play the game her way.
I promise I'll be the best mole that you've ever had on this show. I've thought of lots of strategies. I'll even get rid of these people's applications. See? Go on.
That was a few months ago. Today, Brooke is $100,000 richer.
I'm going to put maybe 50 to 60 grand. Can't believe I'm saying these amounts, into some shares and stocks and that. The rest, probably 25 to 30 grand, I'm going to take travelling and I'm going to go and see the world, which I'm very excited about because I planned to do that before the mole, but I'd only had about 2 grand saved, so it's kind of good that I won. I was very happy that I won.
So how did Brooke win? What did she see that nobody else did? After the break, the sabotages and clues you could have seen to spot the mole.
You know, I'm sticking close to Brooke because I think she pretty much thinks it's me, and the closer I can stay to her, the more I can find out what she's thinking, where she's going with it. Other people are suspecting her as the mole as well, so that's the other reason I'm sort of hanging around there as well.
Oh my God.
Michael Laffey is the mole. He deceived so many people for so long.
Very happy.
Yet he successfully sabotaged so many of the assignments. How did he do it? And what were the clues that you could have seen?
Well, I guess it's safe to say now that you're the mole. Is it? Yeah.
The day after all was revealed, Michael talked to us about how he'd operated as the mole.
You wake up in the morning, what are we doing today? I mean, everyone else would have been the same, but for me, I was thinking of playing the contestant, playing the mole.
Stand clear! Episode 1, The Assault Course.
Let's go.
On the Flying Fox, I was last and everyone was back up the other end, so I sort of mucked around a bit trying to unhook myself.
In fact, Michael wasted 30 valuable seconds taking his harness off.
That was just testing the water just to see what happened. Yeah.
Later on in the assault course, Michael took a big risk. Hal is leading the group and he takes everyone around an obstacle. But listen carefully.
Go round.
It was Michael who said go round.
Here's an obstacle. You haven't completed it. The time's still going.
Michael got away with it. None of the contestants had noticed. Episode 2, The Time Bomb.
Thankfully, I was in the bunker with John, and he's very set in his ways, and he made that very easy for me.
To stop the bomb exploding, the wires had to be cut in the sequence pink, yellow, red, orange.
Pyro was the key word there, and it was written right there in front of us.
All Michael needed to do was convince John to look for some other solution.
He was sure that those wires were, all connected. He was positive that we had to find out and trace them and that sort of stuff, so he made that one easy for me, actually. By not even saying pyro or anything like that, he made that very easy. I didn't have to worry about that one too much.
It was a difficult piece of sabotage to see, but it was certainly successful.
Yeah, it came off well, except for, ringing in the ears for a couple of days and a clicking jaw. I wasn't expecting that one. We belted up against the wall. But that was, that was all right. It's a bit of fun too.
Episode 3, and Michael's sabotage was dangerously obvious. Inside the maze, Michael ran slowly and he was easily caught.
Ran around in bushes for a while. I was running around in circles for a bit, bumping into things on purpose. I knew that would prick people's suspicion, so I had to deal with that when I got back.
His excuse for running slowly was a faulty torch. But look closely and you can see that the torch was always working.
I had to make up the faulty torch story and make it harder. And thankfully, everyone else that went in the maze said it was hard as well.
Sabotage 2 inside the maze was even more dangerous. The hunter is right behind Michael, yet Michael picks up the beacon. Michael was then caught and the beacon was taken out of play.
Bad luck. $10,000 goes begging.
Had he been caught before he'd grabbed the beacon would have stayed in play and they would have gone on to win $10,000.
Fast runner on the other end.
In episode 4, Michael appears to be the hero. He notices that a map is in fact upside down.
This is upside down, this map.
And he appears to get everyone on the right track. But if Michael knows Victoria so well, why didn't he correct Mel's mistake?
Off the highway that goes to Hillsville.
We're off the highway that goes to Hillsview.
The confusion between Hillsville and Hillsview held the car up for over an hour and it cost them $10,000.
Look out for a sign that says Hillsview anyway.
Yeah, it's strange that no one's heard of it.
It was a brilliant move by Michael. He'd sabotaged the assignment, but by appearing to be the hero, he put Mel off the scent.
I thought Michael done an outstanding job and I take my hat off to him.
I think that turned Mel around a bit on me, put him off the track, and I think pretty much that did the trick for him for a while.
The following day, Michael took one of his biggest risks. To find Hal and Shane, Michael and Brooke had to walk down to a creek and then turn left. Halfway down the slope, Michael hears Hal and Shane over to his left, but Michael points right.
Yeah, they're back there.
With a stereo TV, you'd have a chance of picking up the clue. But it's a difficult one to spot, and not even Brooke noticed it.
And when it was obvious that they were back that way, well, I just kept going the wrong direction, basically, for as long as I could.
Walking down the creek, Michael sabotaged again.
We called all the way through the gorge. Well, most of the way through the gorge. And no one answered us back, basically.
Hal and Shane were answering. It's just that Michael always only ever stopped at the waterfalls where he couldn't hear a thing.
We move forward to episode 6, Fortress.
Yeah, that was always going to be fun.
Michael sabotaged the Fortress assignment 3 times. Sabotage 1. Michael's a builder, yet look what he does to barricade a window.
By not doing something, you're probably doing a lot. Like I could have boarded up that window a lot stronger.
It was the window that one of the terrorists used to get in.
Being a builder, I could have just stitched that place up pretty tight. You know, those guys would have dislocated a shoulder coming through that window if I had chosen.
Sabotage 2. As night falls, Michael takes the night sight, but he never uses it, and the terrorists arrive completely unseen. And Sabotage 3. Michael was patrolling the back of the building, and that's where the terrorists came from. They made it inside without Michael firing a shot. All of these are clues that you could have seen, but thankfully for Michael, everyone else was acting suspiciously.
Brooke chose early to go and just sit in the bushes and get herself out of the way. Mel, who was meant to be in the house guarding the vase at all times, was actually out on the balcony with a spotlight at the time, looking at bombs going off. Shane was down in the bushes when he wasn't meant to be. He was meant to be up on the balcony. You know, what was he doing out in the bushes and got shot when he was meant to be on the balcony? There was a lot of little things in that you could point the finger at other people about as well.
Finding the mole is as difficult for the contestants as it is for you at home. After the break, some more clues you could have seen.
As far as being the mole, been a bloody hard 3 weeks, I can tell you right now.
And Michael Laffey, who is the man behind the mole.
I thought it was going to be easy being a heartless bastard.
Bevan and Emily is doing a driving test in a blacked out car. She's being guided by Brooke, Mel and Michael.
Slow down this fraction.
Michael's sabotages were sometimes very, very subtle.
Driving test, I don't think any suspicions came about from that one.
All Michael could do in the driving test was influence the others. Listen to how he persuades everyone to break a road rule, reversing without looking behind.
I don't think you should go reverse. We can't see behind us.
Yeah, we can keep it straight on the road.
Keep it straight.
It looks and sounds so natural, and no one noticed it.
They did look behind you while reversing.
But that mistake cost them $10,000.
Hitchcock Hotel.
Out.
A stunning failure.
Yeah, pretty stunning failure. That was a bit blatant, actually. I struggled to get away with that one.
In Hitchcock Hotel, the 4 contestants had to escape from their rooms using a series of clues. Michael's room had an exercise bike which powered a light in Hal's room. So how did Michael sabotage the assignment? By waiting 35 minutes before getting onto the bike.
You walk into the room and there's an exercise bike and you don't get onto it. How dumb is that?
As soon as Michael started pedalling, Hal could read his clue.
VCR.
And then every now and then I'd just get off and leave Hal in darkness for a while and let him fumble around the dark. But yeah, I just kept him in the dark for as long as I could.
Eventually, everyone escaped from their rooms, but they were too late and they lost another $10,000.
How late were we?
Minutes. It was a success for me, but I ran it pretty close to the bone on that one, not getting on the exercise bike quickly enough.
Not all the clues were acts of sabotage. In episode 1, it's Michael's dossier we see being photocopied. Does it look familiar? It should do. Then, throughout the series, whenever the team failed an assignment, Michael would look as deflated as everyone else. But look what happens when they win. Everyone claps, except Michael. And look at this. Brooke shoots Michael and loses the team $10,000. But look closely. Michael isn't angry. He even thanks her.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated.
After all, Brooke has just done Michael's job for him.
Yep, I know where we are.
The job of the mole is as much to deflect suspicion as it is to sabotage the assignments. And at the end of each day, Michael would record his progress on his confession cam.
As far as I know, Mel thinks I'm the mole, and I want him off my tail a bit. So, you know, I had to pull something out of the bag, which I tried to do. I read the map around the right way, I knew where I was, so I came out with it. Pretty much wanted to get him off my tail.
In another episode, Michael needed to get Hal off his tail. So, in the fugitive assignment, Michael sprinted up the street to catch Brooke, but it was all an act. Hal kept up with him the whole way, So if Michael hadn't caught her, Hal would have done. Even so, the bluff worked.
It was a bit faster off the mark than me, but once we got going, we were pretty even Steven.
So tell me, do you think there was any mole activity?
No, none.
Then, just last week, Michael appears to save the day with his kayaking. But he only kayaks hard for a while. As soon as he's away from the boat, he stops. There's one final clue. Listen to what Michael said in last week's episode and see if you can notice anything odd.
Eliminations were a low point. Coming up to elimination, knowing that someone's going to get cut out.
It's subtle, but it's there. Listen between the lines and you can tell that Michael knows he won't be eliminated.
Knowing that someone that you've gotten close to is going to be leaving, that's been a low point.
He only ever talks about how sad he is to see other people go. Michael remained hidden to the very end, but was he a good mole? Who better to ask than last year's mole, Alan Mason?
The two of you together at last.
Oh, I think you did a bloody great job. Yeah. Very excellent job, I think. Very well done.
Blend into the background, was I?
No, you don't blend into the background. No.
Was I over obvious in any areas, do you think? I tried not to be.
No, I think you did really well. There was some really subtle things, like in that first step, we were, I think it was your voice that was telling people to go around an obstacle.
Go around?
Right from the middle of the pack or the back or something like that. And
well, they were already halfway there. I thought, well, halfway there, this is all right. You keep going.
Yeah. They're the ones that, from my point of view, make the mole's job rewarding, if you like.
I thought I might have given it away a bit in the Hitchcock Hotel. There's a bike in the room and I didn't get on it for half an hour. I thought that might have been a little bit obvious.
Deliberately losing a challenge never came easily to Michael, so he took every chance he could to play the hero. It was a perfect bluff because Michael is naturally competitive.
Here's a chance for the Tigers.
Michael Laffey played in the back line for Richmond between 87 and 90.
Showing tremendous desperation.
He was often plagued with injuries, but whenever he was on the field, Michael was a force to be reckoned with.
Laffey. Oh, shocking kick. Oh.
Two blokes in here?
He now coaches the Melbourne Uni Blacks, none of whom, when this was filmed, knew that Michael was the mole. But they had their suspicions.
When he got selected, he didn't look that excited. Looked as though he knew what he was doing.
It was relief, mate. That was relief. That was like, oh, yes. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing.
We've seen the look of relief on your face before. That wasn't it. That wasn't relief. He's got to be the mole.
You want to put the other one on?
Off the field, Michael's a builder. Even at work, Michael takes every chance to be the mole.
I'll just hang around here and lean on the shovel. Well, because I work out in public a lot, some people sort of came past and go, oh, you know, just young school kids and that sort of stuff. You're the guy off the mole and that sort of stuff. And,
You know who the mole is?
Yeah, I do.
Has anybody ever asked you who the mole is?
Everyone asks me.
What do you say?
My standard answer most of the time is yes.
Yes?
Yes. I've just been having fun with it. Just saying, oh, you know, you'll have to wait and see. And that's, you know, saying yes to just about everything, really. You know, are you the mole? Yeah. Oh, what did you win? Yeah, I won.
We now know how Michael sabotaged everyone's efforts, but the contestants themselves are yet to find out how they were fooled for so long.
You were pretty ordinary on your direction. No left, no right here. I said there's no right here, mate. I'm running.
Months after it all began, their adventure is drawing to a close. At the Ridges Hotel in North Sydney, a final dinner and a final chance for Michael to tell those he was betraying what he did and when.
Let's get Michael to run us through those acts of sabotage that none of us ever suspected. What did Michael do and when?
The maze. Big giveaway.
The maze?
Oh, he completely ignored me. I mean, he just went off his own tangent.
Let's look at that again. You were pretty ordinary on your direction, Judge. No left, no right here. I said there's no right here, mate. I'm running.
But looking back too, Michael stuck his hand up without even blinking to volunteer himself to be the runner.
Yeah, because I was in there by myself. It's harder to do things as a mole in front of the whole group.
Yeah.
about our little time that we had down in the bunker.
Yep.
Pyro was a big statement. Did you know where it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you see it at all times?
I actually went and looked for it.
Was it difficult to find? Or?
No.
I just can't believe a bloke blew himself up.
Neither can I now.
Did you do anything to sabotage the hostage one?
At one stage, Mel said, "Oh, Hillsview. Hillsview," and I've gone,
Okay.
we'll see how we go with that one. Yeah.
Was I sabotaging it?
Yeah, you were doing a great job.
I didn't even know.
Race camp.
But don't worry about indicating there, Em. I mean, you just reverse straight back. Don't worry, look about it over your shoulder. Just go straight back. You're right. Fortress.
Did you see any of the SAS guys?
Yeah.
Well, you,
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. There they go.
did you intentionally miss, or did you actually have a crack at him going through the window?
Oh, no, I had a crack. I had a go at one of them, but the other guy was already through the window, so the damage was done. We had a big opportunity to lock that place up pretty tight. You know, that window where they were coming through?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could have locked that up because that was the window it was coming through.
I think overall we've had a remarkably good mole.
Oh,
I'd like to propose a toast to Michael.
Yep, well done, mate.
Michael the mole. Very clever.
To Michael, our mole.
Well done, buddy.
Congratulations.
Well done, mate.
I'll talk to you later.
And listen, while we're with glass in hand, to our winner.
Yep, absolutely.
Well done,
Go,
Brookie.
Brooke.
To Brooke. Go, Chicky Dave.
Go Europe.
Well done.
Well, thank you all very, very much for your participation. I think we're at the end of our show, except for one small outstanding accounting matter. Brooke Marshall, I have here, maybe you should open it, something.
It's a cheque for $100,000. Brooke won it, but it was earned by all of them.
It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found the somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, or even be glad just to be sad thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross, try to be boss, but they wouldn't do. For nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.